Masks of Nyarlathotep is set in the 1920s. We will be using terms and sayings from those times, including some that could be considered offensive. It is not our intention to offend, we merely wish to offer as accurate a view of the time period as possible. Welcome to the Nerds Domain presents Masks of Nyarlathotep. Join us each week as our investigators follow a path of clues and attempt to save the world from an ancient evil. Starring John Quiet, Justin Kimmett, Shirley Nedswicki, George Chipples, Jason Hall, and Scott Troiano, with me, Matt Quiet, running the table as the Keeper. Eldritch evils and crazed cultists await you just beyond this music.
Hello, and welcome to the Nerds Domain Presents Masks of Nyarlathotep podcast. I'm Matt, and I'm here today with Shirley.
Hello.
John.
Hi.
George.
What's up?
Jason.
Not Jesse. Hello.
No. Scott.
Hello.
And Justin.
Howdy.
And we're going to get started today here in a minute, but first, on our second attempt, we're going to go ahead and go around the table and do some descriptions and tell you a little bit more about the characters and what they look like. So, Jesse.
What, me first?
Yes, you.
Hang on a second, I forgot who it was.
Oh, come on.
Really?
Okay, yes. Okay, you want us to define who we look like
Yes,
based on
yes.
Alfred Hitchcock.
What are you wearing?
I'm wearing...
Are you bald?
No, but I am balding.
Tell us about your stick.
Tell us about your stick. Do you walk
If
on a
I
limb?
had $1 every time I heard that. Anyway, though.
You did. Maybe have
Please
50
describe
cents.
your character's physical look.
Alright. Our person's pushing 40. I walk with a limp. I use a rather large shillelagh as a walking stick. It does now have a notch in it. It is also kind of a deep reddish purple color.
And what are you wearing?
I'm wearing a light brown trench coat with a dark brown suit. And from this point on, I will also have a golden cross I wear around my neck. And I will have a shoulder holster of a Colt something.
Okay.
In 1877.
So we're all pulling out the big guns.
Yes. Scott.
My character is more of a heavy-set, darker hair version of the hunter from Jumanji, with the big old mutton chops. Not so much the mustache. Previously, I had been wearing the three-piece suit with the bro-creamed hair. I'm going to be shifting more towards the tanned jodhpurs out back because we've reached a point where I feel I need to bring my shotgun with me everywhere we go, as in some people may just need to get deaded, and I want to have the clothing on that has the fitted patch in the shoulder that dampens recoil, and if we need to shoot anything large, I want to be ready and able.
Okay. Jason?
I'm playing Alexander Wentworth, who is the quintessential college professor. Tweed jacket with leather patches in the elbows. I wear a bow tie. I am not a psychotic killer, so I don't walk around with a shotgun.
Yeah.
I'm just a regular killer.
Yeah, character's kind of naive, but, again, I'm not a psychotic killer. The character would be Christopher Lloyd in The Clue, minus the aura of used car salesman.
Okay. And George?
So I'm playing Courtney Hathaway Weld, who is a young, rich man about town in Boston, and he, in terms of physical appearance, he's on the tall side. He's kind of skinny, somewhat graceful. In the face, he looks like young Vincent Price with a Fu Manchu, slick back hair, and then what he dresses as is he wears what have been described as pajamas, which are kind of what you would see in a kung fu movie or something of that like, with kind of like the mandarin collar, toggle buttons, but he wears very nice silks, usually one color at a time. He has very clearly his different outfits that he'll wear according to whatever he perceives the occasion to call for, but it's basically inappropriate for anywhere they are during this time period anyways. Wears, kind of slippers, and usually he keeps his hands kind of tucked into the big sleeves that he wears. And the other thing I was going to say that I forgot last time, but we didn't record, so it didn't matter, was that...
It's all for George.
Yeah, man. Like, people do take notice and kind of pay attention to him wearing this, and he either is unclear, either he's ignoring them or isn't aware that it's, like, somewhat upsetting to certain people or talked about. So, and there's a little stylized lotus that's on the kind of breast, the left breast of every single one of these outfits.
Okay.
That's me.
And Johnny, we are actually recording this time, so you don't need to check.
He just did.
I know he did.
I looked up at Matt and I
fine.
could see
Go
the
ahead.
computer.
You're good.
So I'm playing Ian Byrne, a private investigator from New York City. Who would play him in a movie is Clive Owen. So he's a hard-nosed, gritty noir detective. So he's going to wear a dark three-piece suit most of the time. All of his clothes are dark three-piece suits. Other than that, yeah, I guess that's all.
Trench coat?
Yeah, trench coat,
Fedora.
hat. Fedora, hat. When it's appropriate.
Shoulder holster?
Yes,
Or
shoulder
hip
holster, shoulder holster, and then ankle holster as well for the drop piece. In case, just in case. Not saying I'm gonna use it.
I thought you
But I
already
got
did.
it.
Didn't you already drop
No,
one?
I was reaching. And I was like, oh, we don't need it. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. And Shirley.
I am playing Eva McCready. She is about 27, late 20s. 5'2", kind of average build, dark hair. She keeps it in a long braid, but nobody really can see it because she has a cowboy hat on a lot of the time, or all the time, while she's out with these guys. I think the actresses that she may kind of resemble or be alike would be somewhere between Holly Hunter and Sandra Bullock.
Okay.
Other than that, she wears plain cotton long sleeve shirt, a duster, tan, oily duster, and long. I don't know. Did they have canvas? Not canvas pants. Did they have canvas back then?
They had
Yeah.
canvas-like pants, yes.
Canvas-like pants and boots.
Okay. All right.
Oh, and she always has her Smith & Wesson on her hips. She doesn't ever go out anywhere without it, and she has the habit of spinning the barrel of it.
Okay. So to bring, yes, Scott.
What's the firearm?
Smith & Wesson, 1970.
Did you build it, or is it pre-bought?
My father got it for me, or her father got it for
Just
her.
curious. I didn't know if you built your own from parts, or if you're
No.
that sort of, what did you call it, a psychopathic killer, or not. Go ahead.
You're
I
also
know
a
how to take
sociopath
it
in my
apart
book.
and clean it. So,
All right. So to remind our listeners, let's talk about our leads right now. What do we currently have as leads? Anybody?
The shipping, consignment, whatever.
Import.
Import, export.
Import, export.
Yeah. Emerson
Imports.
Yes.
Okay. What else do you have?
Juju House.
The Juju House, and where's that at?
Harlem.
There you go.
Can someone
I
explain
hear
what the
it's
Juju
rather
House is
shaky.
again? Because I'm
The
unclear
Ju.
about it.
So Emerson Imports does importing and exporting for stuff coming in and out of Nairobi.
Yes.
Yes, that's correct. They use the Juju House. The Juju House has connections there, so that's who they use.
Okay.
What is Juju House in and of itself?
Also, an import.
That is also a good question. It's probably an import-export. Without going there, you're not sure.
We've been
Alright.
we've been led to believe it's another import-export business that they.
There's also possibly a priestess in town around Harlem by the name of Nakona Bunai? Bunny?
Bonet.
Brunei.
Okay.
Brunei.
Anything else?
The publisher.
Jonah Kensington. Okay.
Who's
That's
the
not the
publisher?
guy that
Who's the
died?
publisher of our murder victim?
Yes.
His name is escaping me at the moment.
Jackson
Elias.
Elias or Elias
Jackson
Good
Elias.
question. We messed those up a lot. So
Jackson Elias,
Elias
is
is
the
the
man
last
who
name.
is,
Elias is the last name.
is the man who was murdered.
So
And then there's the Penhue Foundation.
the Penhue Foundation is someone you've talked to. You've also spoken with the librarian in Harvard. And then there's one other that you've already followed, or you've already gone to, but we may...
Erica?
Erica
Carlyle, the sister of an expedition member.
Roger Carlyle.
Yes.
Jackson Elias was digging up information about the Carlyle expedition,
There we go.
and that is why we were talking to the sister in hopes of figuring out what Jackson Elias was doing when he was murdered.
All right. So you all wake up on the morning of January 17th, 1925.
This is the next day.
This is the next day. Yes. You have a message.
I do.
Slid under your door. Just that there is a telegram for you. They didn't want to leave it on the floor because
Good.
that's not what you do. But you have something waiting for you. Would you like to pursue that immediately?
Are you going to write it out?
Nope.
Send
I'm
it?
just
No?
gonna.
All right. Yes. I'm going to go to the front desk.
Okay. Have information. Stop. Can send. Stop. At the hotel. Stop. Signed. Gavigan. Last name eludes me.
Oh yes, Gavigan.
Yeah, give me just a second.
The mysterious.
A representative of the
Yes.
No, he's one of the directors of the Penhue.
Edward Gavigan.
Edward Gavigan. I knew Gavigan was in there somewhere.
Director
Director of the Penhue Foundation. I'd like to reply. Yes, please send care of Waldorf Astoria.
Okay.
Stop.
So, and he actually, the person you tell that to, and snaps his fingers, and one of the bellboys comes over, he hands it to him, and he runs out like they're fussing and all.
Excellent.
I assumed you all were meeting probably over at the Ritz.
Mm-hmm. I will catch a carriage over there.
Okay. The rest of you wake up. You're all waking up and heading to breakfast. Anything you guys want to do before you get there?
As I get dressed, I'll recite a prayer.
Okay.
Is there a pharmacy or some sort of?
Within a distance, sure.
Because my ankle hurts from falling on it, so I want to go buy some laudanum.
Okay.
Laudanum.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, we can get you some nice laudanum. Do you go yourself or do you send someone?
I sent someone.
One of the bellhops is more than happy to go and run whatever errands you're paying him for.
Right.
So, yeah, they'll be back around soon.
For a $5 tip, they'll be back as quickly as possible.
This guy's not getting $5.
So you guys all sit down to the breakfast. It's your typical tea and some boiled eggs of the time. It's just your typical
Can we
breakfast.
get a solid English breakfast?
Yes.
Eggs, sausages.
Take a little bit
4
longer.
pounds of pork,
Right.
bacon.
Half cooked bacon.
Yes.
Beans.
Well, not as much beans, but the bacon, the egg, sausage,
Yeah.
onions.
refried
yes.
toast. Yeah.
Yes.
So
Proper breakfast.
you sit down at the breakfast table, and they start bringing out your food. Your food takes just a little bit longer because you have to actually cook some of that, sort of.
Well, Dave, we'll be going to the import place today. I think we should stop over.
Who went there? Mr. Byrne, and who accompanied you?
Captain Wilkinson.
Why would we need to go back?
You said you wanted to go back.
I'd said I'd wanted to go with you in the first place, but I assumed that if you saw fit to go on your own, that you were able to get whatever information there was to be obtained there.
It was a
What
rather.
did you find out?
It was a rather cursory evaluation.
What did you find out?
That they had connections with the Juju House for importing from Nairobi, and scant beyond that. Did you have further questions that you wished to ask? We thought we'd come back.
Well, I'm sure that if Mr. Byrne saw fit to go there without me, he was very thorough in his investigation and found out everything there was to need to know there. So we should probably proceed to the Juju House. Do you make that gesture?
I'm not there, no. Oh, yeah.
You are.
No, yeah, I'm not going to mock you behind your back. My character isn't like that.
No, you mock him to his face.
Yeah.
Well, I believe that we did
Besides
learn
pajamas,
everything
don't
that
have
we could
ties.
learn from the gentleman at the Emerson Imports. He was... The reason we went there in the first place was to find out who... I can't read that.
Silas Nquain.
Silas Nquain was, and why Mr. Elias had his name in his room among his papers.
And as a reminder, you know who Silas Nquain is because...
We went to Emerson Imports.
And who is he?
He's someone at the Juju House.
There you go. Just want to make sure that connection was made.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So, sorry.
Yeah, we went to Emerson Imports, and they said this guy Silas is at the works at the Juju House, and that the gentleman at Emerson Imports had directed Mr. Elias there for any further inquiries.
Okay.
Good.
While I'm very interested in joining you guys, it might be best if you don't allow me to talk. I don't deal well with heathens.
Heathens?
Heathens. The cult of the bloody tongue. You were at the... Yeah.
You think this Mr. McQuain may be a member of the cult of the bloody tongue?
Yes.
And
Frightening.
And what do you mean by don't deal well with heathens? Is this any heathen, or what will Protestants do? Well, I just didn't know if there would be some religious implication that we should be aware of. Who are not the heathens, if I might ask?
You are an Italian, aren't you?
Anyone who would be of any cult could be easily classified as a heathen. And I'm not one to view as people who are not practicing in things.
Yes, but my question is more to the fact, anyone that is not of Roman Catholic, then, would be a heathen?
There's varying degrees of heathenist.
Oh?
I'm sorry.
Heathenitis. Heathenistics.
Heathenism?
All right. Jesse, did you take any religion classes? Are you aware? No. Okay.
Okay.
Hedonism and heathenism.
Heathenism. I love that, by the way.
Hedonism is completely different. I'm fine with you.
I mean, there's some crossover there, but yeah.
Real quick while we're all sitting around here, and having noticed that there's now a notch on his stick, I would like to roll occult on his shillelagh.
You sure can.
What is the notch? When you say notch, what do you mean? Like
It's a noticeable nick in it.
Oh, I want one of those.
in the
Where
staff?
at exactly? On the
It's
head?
gonna
Or
be like the head
slightly
here is
below?
going to be slightly below where my hand would rest.
Okay.
Okay.
I failed.
Did you make it with a -10?
I'm 2,500.
Can I make the roll?
No. They're checking out your stick.
If you don't know about your
Opposed
stick,
occult rolls!
But no, I want to see if my skill will go up there.
There is.
Nice.
You'd have to look it up, but there's been some sort of magic applied there. You're not quite sure what, but you would really have to look into it.
So if I look it up, I go to the library, what would I be looking up beyond stick?
You wouldn't go to the library.
Staff of
Okay.
Hedonism.
Yeah.
You would have to go to an occult bookstore.
I
or
don't know books that
something.
would deal with
Yeah,
magic
and look
staffs.
up probably something along the lines of what would cause a weapon to turn that hue.
Staff of true heathenism.
Yeah.
No, he said it right. There's no reason to laugh.
Yeah.
No, I'm just like thinking it's the heathen staff of heathen bane.
Right.
That's yeah. So
Plus
no, I
two
mean
to
you
hit,
have to
plus
look
two
up.
to
I
hit.
look up
Sure.
magic purple sticks.
Yeah, I mean you can reference glossaries for magic purple sticks,
Yeah.
and you should be able to find it.
But
yeah.
there'd be books that would deal with like
That-
finishes and things like that.
That
shillelagh
finishes
do
and yeah. I mean there's a lot of stuff that you can.
But the other question I have for you, you said you were wearing a crucifix now or a cross?
Yes.
How big is
How,
this?
yeah, how big was it look like?
It's about an inch. It appears to be made of
Now,
gold.
two
About
questions.
an inch?
Two questions,
Yeah.
Jesse, because this is important. Is it purely a cross or is it a full rosary?
Or is it a crucifix? Because
Right,
they're all
there's a
different.
crucifix.
This is
Is there a man slapped on the front of it?
Are you?
no man on
Is your
this.
character Catholic?
Yes.
Okay, there's a crucifix.
It could also be a rosary.
Yeah, it is
Yeah.
a rosary.
Is it a rosary crucifix? I mean, is there...
There is a crucifix attached to the rosary.
Okay.
Okay.
Alright.
And
That's
you're-
fine.
and you're wearing it around your neck.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
perfectly fine. It can be seen as a symbol of protection.
What are the beads made out of? I mean, just in cursory glance. Are they gemstone or are they
Purplish
bone?
wood
Are
that
they...
changes color.
No, they're red. Sort of like coral. Deep sea coral. Fossilized coral thing.
You just
So the more
realized
he
you
kills, the more they
described
fill
something
up with
that's
blood. Are we
exceptionally
playing
expensive in the
vampire?
1930s, right?
Okay, just check.
Garnet.
Just because it looks like it doesn't mean it is.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah,
I
it's
just want
this
I want
newfangled
you.
plastic.
I just want you to
No,
understand.
it's just painted.
the thing that you just described as deep sea coral
Yeah.
would be exceptionally expensive in the 1930s.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
For you to get a hold of.
But he said fossilized, so not
Yeah.
necessarily.
So
look at
that's
it.
fine. I just want you to and you could have thrown all of your money from your savings directly into that. I'm okay with it. I just want you to understand that you now have a piece of something worth money. So later
Around
when
your
you
neck.
get ganked and it gets stolen from you, it's not my fault.
Now if he sticks around with a bunch of dudes openly carrying firearms.
with the holster on his shoulder so he can fire even better. I'm perfectly fine with it.
Yeah, he's got to host himself.
I would suggest that between here and Harlem is Jonah Kensington, and it might be best to stop there on the way.
So again, heathens.
Heathens.
Specifically,
Yes.
anyone outside of the Roman Catholic Church. You don't consider the Church of England to be heathens, do you?
All right, so
Not
Jesse,
worth eradicating.
Oh!
Really? So, a hardcore papist. I understand now, do
I audibly inhale when you say that.
You're like,
Yeah. And I look a little shocked myself, actually. Like,
Well, there it is. And I continue eating my breakfast, ignoring it.
okay, so you
I actually give you a glance.
you guys finish up your breakfast. It comes to an end. Are you heading straight to Harlem, or would you like to stop at?
But we talked about this previously. Do I have any kind of... I think I failed, actually. I tried to set up a meeting with him and failed, or there's some
You
sort of
tried.
social
You
thing? Is that what-
attempted to set up a meeting with Erica Carlyle, and you didn't get through. You could try again.
No, but with the publisher, would I have any social...
You know that he and Elias were close, pretty friendly. On top of just being writer and editor, so he may have more information on what was going on.
So I would maybe send a telegram ahead or telephone. Would that be appropriate?
Well, when the boy shows back up with your laudanum,
Yeah, maybe just run a message because it's not far.
Yeah.
Just say something. Please send a request to Mr. Kensington and inform him I'm a friend of Mr. Elias's, and we're investigating the terrible crime that occurred, and if you'd be willing to meet with me and my associates this morning or afternoon, and then send him off with that, and then suggest we have tea until we get a
roll
response.
credit rating. Yeah, you knew it was coming. Credit rating.
Ooh, just make it.
Okay. Yeah.
you rolled an odd 7 and you just made it.
Oh, yeah, I'm reading that wrong. I did really well.
Be like,
Thank you.
what?
Yeah, the rich guy has 8.
So if you roll and you make your credit rating, does that go up?
You mark it, and then at the
Remember
end of
100%
said adventure, we
Oh,
will.
because I didn't do that.
That's what
last
that
time.
box is.
Yeah,
Mark
okay.
that box. Don't mark it super
digit
heavy because we're going to go through
percent.
several chapters.
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. Because I didn't know that could go up just like everything else. Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
I thought
So,
you had at least a point.
the boy runs. You guys kind of finish up breakfast, and then he comes back not 15 minutes later. It's not a very far walk.
Right.
He hands you back a slip of paper and takes whatever money you give him. I'm assuming 5
Couple
cents
coins.
or
Yeah.
Bucks.
and he's out. Yeah, go $35. So he
about
takes
$24?
whatever money you give him, and then he goes back to doing what he's doing. And you, in a very nicely written script, it says, "Mr. Weld, at any time that you wish to enter my office, we would be honored with your presence and be happy to talk to you about anything you wish."
So I'll say, well, we've received a message from Mr. Kensington. He'd be perfectly available to see us and discuss with us anything that we should wish, I would assume. So it's on the way to the Juju house, so if no one sees otherwise, I think we should go there perhaps first. No objections!
No, I would say that'd be fine.
All right.
Sounds good.
Unless somebody wanted to go do something on their own, because there's a lot of people here.
The offices of Prospero House are located on Lexington Avenue near 35th Street. Now, for our listeners who actually know New York City, I apologize if the Ritz-Carlton is nowhere near 35th and Lexington. However, in my mind, it's like next door.
Welcome to a game of fantasy where suspension of belief is core to the idea.
Yeah, much like other people we listen to who believe that Toronto and Ottawa are right next to each other in Canada.
It's a
Where's-
joke on
where's
another
Canada?
podcast.
Nice.
Yeah. There's Ottawa. It's right around the corner from the big needle
Yeah, the
tower
needle
thing.
thing.
Yeah.
And you take Interstate 10 to get there. Yeah, totally.
So, it is a modest. It's a modest building, and the publisher is on the first floor.
Oh, and real quick, what does this publisher publish? Is it mostly occult, ethnographic type stuff, or
It's not books that sell super well. It's books that he feels need published about cults, about Stranger Things. It's not your cookbooks. It's not that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely not reprints of Shakespeare. It's books that modern writers are writing about non-fiction subjects that he feels are important.
It's sort of on the front.
Yeah.
Is there anything we could identify on the shelves worth picking up?
In his office, yeah, there's probably some books that are modern, so they may not have all of the deep information you would want, especially you as a professor.
Yeah.
But this is a guy you would have read or will read in 5 to 10 years. Or this is books that you would read 5 to 10
He's
years
an
from now when they
educated
become
man.
more. Yeah, yeah. So, so there you go. Sorry, I'm looking for a note. These are not in order. That's perfect. I love it. It may be on another page. Anyway, so you guys enter. There is a secretary and a small waiting area. Are you kidding me? Hold on just a second. All right, sorry for that quick pause there, guys. I was trying to find some notes. Quit reading that. You don't have it yet.
I can't
The
even
Church
read
of
it.
England should be eradicated. Yeah.
No, he didn't say that.
Just right below the mark.
Need to be.
Oh, right.
All
Not
right.
yet.
Just the last
Now,
one.
if one of you kicks a puppy, it's on.
Jonah Kensington is in his early 50s. Nice styled hair. He has a mustache and an unkept beard. Looks like probably 8 or 9 days of growth. It's a little scraggly. It's not growing in as thick as it could. As you walk in, there is a receptionist. When you walk in, she looks at you and motions you on through to his office, as though she were looking for the man in the,
Silks.
unique clothing.
All right.
How did she know?
Because the boy had to come through here.
Oh,
Like he wouldn't have mentioned, Mr. Kensington,
weird.
there's this dude dressed in pajamas. Might have said something.
Yeah, I've also been wearing this for a certain number of years, so it's possible that I would have a reputation for that amongst certain members of society.
It's true. It's true. It's part of his credit rating. That's why it's a little bit higher than yours. If you wore
I
pajamas,
dress for success, man.
shoot right up. Gentlemen, ma'am, come in. And he kind of brings you into a little office that has a table. There's only 4 chairs or so, but he stands and motions for all of you to sit down.
And I motion Mr. Botticello in. I'll bring up the rear.
I will bow to him and say, Mr. Kensington, it is a pleasure to meet your acquaintance. And these are my associates. We have Miss Eva McCree of the fine state of Texas.
No.
She's from someplace.
Nebraska.
From Nebraska.
I'm from Nebraska.
Nebraska.
Isn't that near Texas?
No.
As
not
close to
at
Texas
all.
as Ottawa is to Toronto.
You know, right around the corner.
And Mr. Byrne, who is an associate of mine. Mr. Wentworth?
Yes.
Sorry, I'm getting confused.
Yes.
Because I'm next to Jason, so I can see his
Professor Wentworth.
Professor Wentworth,
I'll shake his hand like a man and not bow like a guy in pajamas.
Captain Wilkerson, and Mr. Botticello.
And what can I help you folks with today?
Well, we have recently come from what we found, all of us, actually, Mr. Elias's body.
Oh, you found Jackson.
Yes.
It's a terrible thing. He was a good friend.
Not very surprised.
The police informed me yesterday.
And so I am not aware of what the police may have told you, but we found certain documents, names, things that seem to have been relating to his research, and I was hoping that you, as his publisher, might know what he was researching and have some
I
ideas.
have been in some contact with Jackson over the last year or so concerning a lot of information. But a lot of it's missing, too. Jackson believes that, I'm sure by now you're familiar with the Carlyle expedition.
Yes.
He believes that they're still alive and that there's something going on and that the murders are not really murders, not at least of the principal members. And he said he had information concerning that. It sounded like a great book. I mean, the Carlyle expedition was pretty big news 5 years ago. Today, it still could be worth quite a bit of money, and it's the kind of thing that this publishing house would normally write about anyway. It involves a cult, or more than one cult. I believe that the police are correct, and it was a cult murder. I hear that at least one man was apprehended, and another was killed. Is that correct?
Yes.
I think very much that Jackson was killed for what he knew, and whatever that was, I don't have all of it. What I do have is his last few notes from Nairobi. I'm handing out a piece of paper. It really just describes the sets. Do you want to see that?
No.
I guess not.
It's
No, it's fine. Yeah, he hands you several paper-clipped bundles. There's seven sets there. It really goes through them, and I'll tell you, George, right now, honestly, we probably need to pause so you can get a chance to read all that.
If we want to do it, we could do it in real time, so I can read decently fast.
Oh yeah,
and have
that would be
the
fun.
folks
Or you
interact
could
a lot.
read them out aloud, just to, or you know what? Here, let me see them. The first set here. The first set is about offices, officials, and tribes, which that Elias went and visited, searching for material concerning cults and cult rituals. Nothing. He didn't learn anything conclusive according to these notes, though. He discounts the official version of the Carlyle massacre. The second set, I'm sorry, there are 8 sets here. The second set describes his trip to the massacre site. Elias noted particularly that the earth there is completely barren, that all tribes of the region avoid the place, saying it is cursed by the god of the black winds. That is something you want to write down.
God of the Black Winds?
God of the black winds, whose home is the mountaintop.
Was that
Just a reference from something else I read.
was that a plural or a singular god?
God, singular.
God of the mountaintop.
So that name
Whose
sounded
home-
familiar, but it's not in my
Yeah.
notes.
Whose
So I
home
think it
is the
was a.
mountaintop?
God
Whose
of the
home
wind.
is the mountaintop.
I think it was a cult
Of
thing
the
that
black
they did.
wind.
Black
Black
Winds,
Winds.
whose home is
Why is it going to be about race?
It's Africa.
True.
It's Lovecraft.
It also
Right.
that. Set 3 is an interview with Johnston Kenyatta.
Wow.
Nice.
Too much Taco Bell?
Johnson Kenyatta. John Stone Kin Kenyatta, who says that the Carlyle murders may have been performed by the cult of the Bloody Tongue. He says that the cult is reputedly based in the mountains and that its high priestess is part of the Mountain of the Black Winds. Elias
Part
was,
of the mountain?
is
Part of.
a part of the Mountain of the Black Winds.
So is the.
Mountain of the Black Winds is a group, clearly. The way that the notes are written. If that helps. I think that answers your question. Okay.
And
But that may or may, but the Mountain of the Black Winds may or may not be the mountain.
Yeah. It could be the Mountain of the Black Winds or Mountain of the Black Winds. It could be either, and that dictates exactly what that means.
Who wrote that?
But that may not
this
be
is all-
the mountain referred
This
to
is
as the
all
god of
notes
the
from
mountain.
Elias, but this is what
I would
Kenyatta
think that it
insists or suggests.
Kenyatta Stone?
Johnston Kenyatta. In quotes, Elias records the regional tribes fear and hate the Bloody Tongue, that tribal magic is of no protection against the cult, and that the cult's god is not of Africa.
So, once again, the cult of the Bloody Tongue
Uh-huh.
worships the god of the Black Winds, whose home is on the mountaintop.
Yes.
But
And
is this a separate group from the barren landscape that they found? In other words,
So-
he went to the place where the
It's-
bodies were supposed to be buried, and it was barren, and the tribes there avoid that place because
Yeah.
it's a different god than the god of the Bloody Tongue, or
Because that place is cursed.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Set 4? Oh, did you still have a question?
I
I'm
was,
sorry.
so right now we have no evidence to connect the Mountain of the Black Winds as a group that is part of the cult of the Bloody Tongue.
They live in the mountains.
The Bloody Tongue's high priestess is part of the Mountain of Black Winds.
So okay, so those are, right now those are two groups
As far as you can
with a
tell.
connection of one person.
As far as you can tell, yes, that is correct.
Okay,
We will later find that they're the same.
yeah, or
Probably.
or like the mountain group runs the cult
Right.
as a front.
Set 4 follows up on the... Oh, do you need more time? I'm sorry.
No, I'm good.
Set 4 follows up on the Kenyatta interview. Elias confirms from several good sources that the Bloody Tongue exists, though he finds no first-hand evidence of it. tales include children stolen for sacrifices. Creatures with great wings are said to come down from the mountain of the black winds to carry off people. This entry suggests that the mountain of the black winds is a place, not just a group. I know this gets confusing. However, it can be both. So,
well, I mean, in the end, my question is going to be: is the god of the black winds live on the mountain of the black winds?
Suggested that way, yes.
So,
one could correctly assume.
The cult worships a god unknown to folklorists, one fitting no traditional African pattern. Elias, in particular, cites Sam Mariga Rursta, RR-STA, which you'll be able to look at this here in a second. So,
why does he note him?
why does he know what?
Sam Maria.
It doesn't say. It says Elias in particular cites Sam Mariga, RR-STA, but probably a person in Nairobi that has some information. Another contact for you guys.
It's a quick digression because I'm fuzzy
Sure,
on
sure.
this. The Carlyle expedition was to Kenya, not Egypt? Or
The Carlyle expedition went from New York to London, where they picked up more people from the Penhu, went to Cairo. It was originally for Egypt, and then they went to Kenya for some reason.
Oh, okay.
And to get to Kenya, they actually went to Nairobi into Kenya.
Right, through Nairobi.
Yeah, I mean, it's all of it's a protectorate at this point. So
Right.
And Nairobi is where the murder actually happened.
yes,
We're outside of it. In the
yeah.
Well,
yeah.
in the
yeah.
in the
Inland
in-between.
legally claimed by Nairobi is that general area.
But Elias thinks that they're still alive.
Yes. You guys ready to keep going, or okay? Set 5 is a single sheet reminding Elias, in his own handwriting, that the Cairo-based portion of the Carlyle itinerary must be examined carefully. He believes that the reason which prompted Carlyle's Kenyan side trip is on the Nile. So
the Cairo-based portion of the Carlyle expedition notes
should be looked at, and so there's more investigation that needs to be done there for sure.
will lead to why they went to Kenya.
Yes. Set 6 is a long interview with Lieutenant Mark Selkirk, leader of the men who actually found the remains of the Carlyle expedition, and a Kenya hand since the Great War, meaning that he works for Kenya, and the fight against the resourceful von Lettow.
Wait, what? So,
He's in a fight against a man named von Lettow.
He was a German officer in World War One.
There you go. See, look at that, George. You know stuff. Stuff that I don't know. Importantly, Selkirk says that the bodies were remarkably undecayed for the length of time in which they lay in the open. Quote, almost as if decay itself wouldn't come near the place, unquote.
What bodies?
The bodies of those that were
expedition.
the supposed Carlyle expedition, they found bodies there.
Mm-hmm.
Those bodies.
But they think that they are the bodies of the Carlyle expedition, but Elias thinks they're not.
That is correct.
Okay.
Did the gentleman positively ID Roger Carlyle in the group?
the sister did.
The son.
Erica?
That is incorrect from the
No.
information you have. She went
No.
along, she helped find it, she left before any
Oh, that's
identification was
right.
made.
Oh,
She walked
right.
out. Yeah.
But,
Which,
well, oh.
as you know enough about society, that's all she would have done. Was once she found that group, she would have left. That's not her place, and
Okay.
she left it to the
I see.
local authorities.
The other thing I was going to mention, since we took a break from the notes here, is Erica made a comment of her brother in the present tense
Yes.
as well, which leads me to believe she thinks he's still alive,
Um,
or he is still alive.
Yeah, that one, I caught that one too. And went,
And so that's interesting.
Secondly, the men had been torn apart as if by animals. Though what sorts of animals would pull apart bodies so systematically, Lieutenant Selkirk could not guess. Quote, unimaginable, inexplicable, unquote.
But then we had the hanging of 5 tribesmen.
Seems odd, like a mystery.
Just,
I know. No, that's
Dun, 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 dun.
that is exactly the point.
Right.
Yeah.
well, I mean, like,
Selkirk agrees that the Nandies may have had something to do with the episode, but suspected that the charges against the ringleaders were trumped up. Quote, "It wouldn't be the first time," unquote, he says cynically. Finally, Selkirk confirms that no Caucasians were found among the dead. Yeah, I know.
What?
So everybody just looked at me for those of you at home.
yeah.
Only corpses of the Kenyan bears were scattered across the barren plain. So, that
So
might
much
indicate
more looking like
Yes.
cover up.
not necessarily a cover up, just a bad investigation.
Oh yeah, either a cover up or supreme incompetence.
Which in
I
the
think it's
1930s,
Yeah,
in
it's probably
Kenya,
incompetence.
It's probably
yeah.
50-50.
1920s. Yeah. So
Well, cover up by the people involved
I
with
guess,
the originals,
yeah,
but incompetence on the people who looked into it.
I
who
guess
bought
yes,
the
that's
cover up.
probably true.
set 7. Are you guys ready for that? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I thought we were already on 7. Okay,
No,
yeah.
set 7. Another single sheet. Elias ran into Nails Nelson at the Victoria Bar in Nairobi. Nelson had been a mercenary for the Italians on the Somalia-Abyssinian border. Is that right? Abyssinian?
Abyssinia is modern Ethiopia.
Okay. And had escaped into Kenya after double-crossing his employers. Nelson claims to have seen Jack Brady alive. If you remember, Jack Brady is the bodyguard of Roger Carlyle.
The guy with the metal chest piece thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought it was an amulet.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
wearing it on his chest.
Yes.
That was in March of 1923, so 3 years after the murders, in Hong Kong.
Yay!
Brady was the guy.
Was he wearing
So we're going to
pajamas?
Hong Kong.
I can speak the language.
This was less than 2 years before Elias was in Kenya, and long after the Kenyan court declared that Brady and the rest of the expedition was dead. Brady was friendly, though guarded and taciturn. Nelson didn't press the conversation. From this report, Elias deducted that the other members of the expedition might still be alive.
Wait, Brady. Okay, I'm sorry. I thought Brady was. I thought Brady was believed dead with the rest of the expedition.
He was.
Exactly. I mean, this guy's song.
That's why this is. Yeah, no,
The sentence you said made me think that wasn't what I was supposed to
Yeah,
believe.
think
at this
think
point.
more Brady talked to Niles instead of Niles talked to Brady.
Yeah, they Niles and Brady ran into each other in Hong Kong, and it became clear to Elias from talking to Niles about it, or Nails. I'm sorry, this is Nails.
Nelson.
That clearly, if Brady's alive, the rest of the expedition very well may be alive, and that's what he was looking into.
Okay, so it was Nails' conjecture, not Brady's actual words that made
Right.
Nails believe
Right.
this, and then Nails passed that along to Elias.
Yes. And set 8 discusses a possible structure for the Carlyle book, but is mostly featureless with entries like tell what happened and explain why. So that one's really not that important. That's just notes for the book. You guys are more than welcome to this for anything you might feel you missed. So those are notes I received from Elias about his book. Then I also got a wire from Hong Kong asking for an advance, which I went ahead and sent. I mean, clearly you guys can tell there's enough work there that a book is coming.
Oh, yeah.
Then I didn't hear from Elias for months. Until the middle of last month when he wired me from London. Elias sent a telegram that was very excited and a little bit crazy sounding. He said he'd been to China, to Africa of course, and to London for a few days, where he dug up a lot of stuff. He said he'd seen unbelievable things and mentioned a plan or conspiracy of monstrous worldwide proportions. He said there was a timetable and that he needed to find the missing pieces, but wouldn't or couldn't explain more. The wire ended, saying that he would be soon in New York, and then he took passage on a freighter Phalarope, Phal-Arope, the next morning. He arrived in New York a few days ago. He left a few more notes with me. They were so bewildering and fragmented that I figured either Elias had gone over the edge and needed some time in a sanitarium, or that he so trusted anybody that he didn't want to give us anyone the full story.
Pause and quick side question. We also had a lead on nails, or I'm not nails, but brass.
Jack
we
Brady,
may have to just to throw that back out after this meeting. Go ahead.
Okay. So that's really about it. So are you guys looking into the murder?
Well,
We were front
Yes.
row and center.
I'd be happy to fund any bit of it that you might need. I'm a man of some small means, but what I can contribute, I will. I'll be happy to. I mean, clearly his murder has to do with the Carlyle expedition, which means you may be going worldwide. I have some friends, specifically in London, that I could point you towards if you end up there for any kind of leads. And then I also, I'd be happy to help book you passage on what I can to where you need to go.
okay. Well, we will be in touch.
And Mr. Kensington, do you have any friends here?
I mean, not necessarily connected to this. Elias was pretty much it. I mean, I have friends, but
He was murdered because he knew something. And you don't know as much as he does, but you know something yourself. And I would be remiss, sir, if I did not say that you may want to engage your own associates, some who may have some...
I see. Maybe after today I should head up to see my sister.
Perhaps.
Upstate.
We believe the bloody tongue may have been involved with...
The police suggested that. They don't give it a lot of weight, but
But he was not the only one who has been murdered.
that's what I'm hearing.
Oh, you mean the other 6?
The other ritual victims, yes.
Yeah.
Mr. Brown.
One other thing that Elias mentioned. Oh, excuse me, I apologize. There were some books that he understood that Roger had that were not among any of the things that Roger left in Cairo or London or... So there are some books connected to the cults that are currently... I wouldn't say missing. They're just not anywhere
No
we
one
can
knows
find
where
them.
they are. Do you have
Do
titles?
you have any titles? Yeah.
I do. Give me just a second to find those.
The big book of evil stuff.
Yeah, the big book.
Necronomicon?
Yeah.
Yeah. There we go. The Narcotic manuscripts. Pnakotic. Selections of de Livre Divin. People of the Monolith, and Life as a God.
I like that one.
Some light reading. Was there any indication at all as to why exactly Elias went to China? I mean, there's
Probably after he met Nails
yeah,
and heard that Brady was in Hong Kong.
yeah,
That would be my guess.
but no, like I'm going to Hong Kong to find.
He actually wired me from Hong Kong asking for money, so that was really
Okay,
the end of that.
Did he also head to Shanghai by chance?
I don't know that he did, but I also don't know that he didn't.
Fair enough.
Actually, you know that he had to have, or he got pictures from someone. So I want to make sure you were aware of that.
Can I roll...
And we have a matchbox.
roll occult on the books to see if I've heard of them? Or
Yeah, absolutely. Just give me
Okay.
one roll.
So can I as well?
That's a difficult as well.
Yeah, depending. I need to know by how much you succeeded to let you know which books you know about.
I did not.
40s, about
You buy 40.
35 or something.
Okay. The Narcotic manuscripts are in English. It's a lot of Cthulhu knowledge.
Cool.
You don't know quite what it's about. The selections of De Livre Divin are French commentary on the Latin original by Gaspard de Nord. People of the Monolith is in English. It is a rare volume. It is also hand bound in a strange skin. This is a specific one that's known.
And when you say it's rare, could I find the other two relatively easily?
The other two, People of the Monolith, or
no, you said that People of the Monolith is rare.
People of the Monolith, there might be 5.
Okay, but
and 2 of them are known. People know where they're at. Only 2. The other 2, there's probably 3 or 4 dozen, and it'd be hard to find them, but they're not rare.
Yeah, it's not relative.
Life as a God, you've never heard of at all.
Cool. I will be calling
Yeah.
probably wiring.
Yeah, you'd have to go back to the hotel for that.
Yeah. I mean, just before we leave the setting or whatever.
Okay.
Can I translate the French title into English? Or does it translate?
I would say, allow me to say this. You can translate anything. It's not going to be perfect. Just keep that in mind.
Yeah.
I remember to read it in French.
It's not that you can't. It's not that you can't read it. It's that translating from French to English, you're looking at 2 different base roots. Word meanings are going to be a little fuzzy. It just doesn't translate perfect.
As someone who took several years of French sucks.
Yeah, you
can
could
roll my
translate
French
it.
skill.
You'd have to read it first to be able to do that.
Can I skim the first few pages?
He doesn't have them. These are the books that Roger was known to have.
Oh, I thought these were the books that were on the shelf that she was looking at.
No, these are books that Roger is known to have.
I was just trying to understand what the title of the book was.
I was like, damn, I made my French roll.
Yeah, I got
No,
French
sorry.
also.
By lie.
It's the first language he said that I actually know.
All right, so any questions for Jonah?
I'm decent. Well, I'll say, Mr. Kensington, we do appreciate your offers of assistance, and we will stay in contact. And if you have any questions or any leads that you might want to contact with us, we'll let you know where we can be found.
I'm going to finish up my work today, and I'll head up upstate. I'll leave contact information with my secretary. She'll be happy to forward you along. Make sure that you designate who you are, so that
yes, of course,
she can trust to pass that information along. I think you're correct. Whatever killed Elias is probably looking for more information. So, anything else? Okay. So you guys are done here. You're
one
yes.
quick thing.
Yeah.
When he says indicate yourself, I'll actually kind of adjust your meaningfully to the lotus on my breast as if to indicate.
Excellent. Yeah. No,
secret signal.
Yeah, he catches it.
Okay.
So did you guys want to continue?
And we walk out.
Yeah. I mean, you guys are going to leave?
None of us allow the Inquisitor who wants to kill all the English to be the last man out of the building.
No. Okay, wait. I'll say our friend,
we all
our friend,
stand to the side and be like,
our friend Mr. Botticello has been looking to find out more information about this stick he's found. Do you know anything about it?
I have been looking for information about my stick.
He looks at it.
The bus.
It's a very interesting stick. Perhaps Mr. Botticello could tell you more about it.
Oh.
If you would ask, I might.
Yes, let's.
Is this a conversation you're going to have in front of Jonah?
No.
Okay.
Okay, then we walk
So
out
you
on the
guys
street and have it.
Head out to the street.
Yes.
You probably spent, with him handing you all the stuff and for you to get to go over it, you've probably been there a couple hours.
Yes.
Your original plan was to go on to Juju House?
Yes.
Yes, but we're going to do something before we do that.
Okay. Go ahead.
Are you going to ask him about the stick on the street?
Yeah, straight up.
Okay.
I noticed that there's a marking on it.
A marking? Oh, the notch?
Yes.
It's to remind me
Of?
what I owe the Lord.
What do you
My
owe
debt.
the Lord?
the souls of
My
dead
sins.
Englishmen.
What sin did you commit?
I unfortunately killed a man.
I thought you purposefully killed a man.
Wait,
Well,
say...
the man died.
No, sir. You killed him on purpose because of his religious views? I just put heathen and the rest together. Did you kill him because you thought him to be one of these heathens that need to be put down?
I killed him because I thought he was hostile. And
He was face down in the street.
No,
He wasn't when he swung.
Yeah.
Oh.
He was face down in the
He
street.
was
because
running
I
when he swung, and he
Ah,
swung and just clocked him in the head.
Yes.
I was merely trying to stop him.
What expression do you have on your face when you say that? Because right now you're grinning pretty big.
If I could get George, if I could get you, anybody besides Jesse can give me a psychology roll to read what's going on with him. Did you make it?
Yes.
Yeah. Did anyone not make it?
Not.
Okay, so you two.
Actually,
How do you feel? How do you actually feel about this?
I felt he fully deserved to die.
But because of his
Hey, in
religious,
this group,
Because of his religious
in this
beliefs.
merry group of sociopaths, that doesn't surprise
for his
me.
religious views, or because he had just killed a man and you were trying to stop him.
yeah.
It might be for both.
Okay. No, it couldn't be for both. Did you know he was a cultist?
No, actually, I didn't know. Thank you. Yes,
No,
because he killed a man.
No, he was just a darky.
The only reason I...
That's reason for you. Out of character.
So
So
yeah,
would you have...
I feel no remorse for it whatsoever.
Why?
Because he was clearly a cultist.
And he's explaining his psychology.
So
Yeah.
would...
Oh, I'll say this out loud. I felt no remorse for doing it because
So-
he was a cultist, but I didn't kill him because he was a cultist. I didn't know that at the time.
So would you have killed the other one
Yes. Give him a chance
for being a cultist?
for killing the man and performing the ritual.
Mr.
Things
Byrne,
you
how
learn
do you...
about your coworkers.
What'd you say?
The things you learn about your coworkers.
Well, Mr. Byrne, how did you meet Mr. Botticello?
Well, our relationship up to this point has been one of business and convenience.
And what business relationship did you two have? Because I am fuzzy on the point.
Well, we run a investigator's office, private investigator's office. He
Oh.
handles his cases, and I handle mine. And occasionally, when I need someone to watch a back door, I give him a call.
you are Irish, right?
Yeah.
You can get along with this. Catholics hate it. You're good at this. This is fine.
No, I'm not. Don't put words in my character's mouth. I'm just as dumbfounded by all this as the rest of you. But since I brought him in, I haven't wanted to speak up. No, frankly, Mr. Botticello, I'm a little disturbed by that thought process.
Do you believe these people are to be allowed to go around and cut people up and perform these
These people? What do you
Foul.
mean?
atrocities?
You will note that when the gentlemen were fleeing from even a murder, that I had a sidearm and did not use it.
I was
So
like,
you would just kill these cultists. If they were in a line, you would shoot them each.
In Mr. Botticello's defense, the chain of events were, hey, the door is locked, let's blow it off its hinges with our sidearms,
We didn't
dive
shoot
out the
nothing.
window.
I didn't
And
even
then
have my sidearm
For
on
some
me.
reason, you were carrying a bolo because this is Africa.
Well, I carry it everywhere. It's a convenient item to have.
I'm simply pointing out that
I didn't even have my sidearm at the time.
it's not as if you gentlemen had any moral superiority in your standpoint.
No, I do not. I'm
I
merely
believe
trying to
you
understand the
count
thought process
incorrectly, so.
and the strange stick that you possess. I do believe that if you strike a man, death may occur, but it may not. And it seems like you were perfectly willing to kill him now, knowing what you know about him. But at the time,
If I was using, if it wasn't this stick, he'd be just as dead.
interesting.
So are you
You
saying
can all
there's
give-
something
you-
specific about that stick?
You can all give me a psychology roll on that.
Thank you.
Do we get a bonus?
No.
Sweet.
Sweet.
Is that 100?
No, that's a 1.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, 0-0.
So
and a
would you
1.
like to read my character background?
Read him like a book.
So, when you're talking about killing off the cultists,
He's telling you that this stick, no matter what he's done with it, didn't hit any harder than any other stick that looks just like this. Like magically, whatever he's done, which
Mr.
is
Botticello, I
what's-
find your story a little fishy.
I try not to tell people this because they look at me like I'm crazy, which you guys are already doing.
When you say that,
Well-
I shrug at you and like
Yeah, like out of character. This
I
one's
have-
like,
Even raises her
yeah, in
eyebrow.
character. Like you actually connect something wrong. Who cares?
I have read a lot of books. A lot of these books describe things that cannot be harmed by normal means. This should allow me to harm anything I wish to harm.
Ah,
now you can give me occult rolls. That will give you a better idea.
You know, I was always told don't judge a book by its cover, but when it opens its pages to you...
Okay, did you get it?
19.
Okay.
I passed by 26.
Are you trained in occult stuff?
No.
Okay.
I was doing my
so
5%.
you two both know from what he's just described, especially from what you've seen before, he has a spell at his resources. You would have to guess. You have to guess that he's used it himself to make his stick hit things that can't be hit.
What does that
I
mean?
actually, I don't say anything, but I have an expression on my face that indicates I kind of drop any kind of curious thing, and it's a respectful look, and I kind of give you a nod.
Well, do you see something here that pleases you at the very least, yes? I'm dumbfounded by the stick, but I do understand that the man wants to kill anything that is not of papal persuasion at the very least. You do realize I don't wish to put you at my back at this point.
I understand.
Now that you guys have talked about murder on the street for a few minutes, you're noticing that people are going around you.
Yeah,
to the
when
other
you
side of the
killed that
street.
man in the alleyway.
So, like they're avoiding you
Well,
completely.
you deserved
Quite-
it.
I'm
You-
quite
let
open
me
about it.
rephrase
I've
that.
been through
Everybody
the war.
but George realizes.
I might realize it's just whether I care or not.
Yeah, but they are.
Gentlemen, we may want to take this conversation inside.
Just tell them we're with a theater company. They'll believe it.
Tell them we've been through the war.
Theater company sounds good. There.
Well, and that tonight will end us for this episode of
You don't
Nerds
know
Domain
you
presents
were there.
Masks of Nyarlathotep. You can find us all on Twitter. I'm at Quiet. Shirley's at SNed70. Johnny is at Fool's Mask. George is at The Chimples. I'm sorry, Jason is still a communist and has no Twitter. Scott is at _Big Daddy T _ and Jesse is at Justin. No.
That what?
Jay,
He's
this is
like,
the
"I'm
reason I've
looking
only
it
got
up."
2 followers.
Yeah.
And
How do
we're
I
both
not
here.
know this? I just
Wait,
lost it.
hold on. We
How do I
need to
find out who
follow
I
Jesse.
am? Me, J _ Kimmett.
J _ Kimmett.
I have 2 followers.
You can always go. I know it's me and George. You can always go to Facebook and find us on Facebook at facebook.com/nerdsdomain. You can also follow Nerds Domain on Twitter at nerdsdomain. You could head over to our website, click on our Amazon link, and buy stuff through that. It makes a little bit of money for us. Nothing extra for you, just more money for us, and that's always good. And we have shirts available over at /loot.com. You can get that by going to tinyurl.com/ndshirts. That'll do it for tonight. We'll talk to you soon.